I never hate my race, but until recently I didn't know history class was jacked completely. Found my new family with the team going free. My old family doesn't understand me, cause I am so pro-white. No coke, no Sprite, I am rolling with the bubbly, gonna be more white. I saw them twist history right before my very eyes. Insurrection Day, it's in the book and it's all lies. But now I am alive and well to tell it. But will generations down the line be able to sell it? I've always been a thinker on the search for both sides, but they label me an outcast and they cannot tell me why. Guess I'm just a black sheep, white boy who doesn't hesitate to make a lot of fucking noise. I'm the black sheep, white boy, and I wouldn't change a thing if I ever had the choice. Cause the red's the color I bleed. Yes, we all do bleed red. I have to protect my family. Why does affirmative action make them not hire me? Even in the countries where I'm the minority. Is my race just that awesome and no other could compete? Is that what the anti-whites are trying to tell me? Why am I always seen as such a threat? To the point they want to strip me down till there's nothing left. Old friends from high school, man, I haven't kept one. But I got a new crew and it's where I belong. Cause if you ain't going free, you ain't rolling with me. And there are even anti-whites in my own family. But I am the one who's comfortable with myself. I try to save them from the hate so while they're raising hell. Cause I'm the black sheep, white boy who doesn't hesitate to make a lot of fucking noise. I'm the black sheep, white boy, and I wouldn't change a thing if I ever had the choice. Cause the red's the color I bleed. Yes, we all do bleed red. I have to protect my family. I heard that Scotland is too white, is Nigeria too black? Don't get your panties in a bunch, cause I have the right to ask. See, I'm the black sheep, cause I call it hypocrisy. And the media will give you emotions, but they will not give you honesty. Yeah, you have your feelings, but I have the crime rate. And I'ma shoot to kill if there's a danger my way. So I do not blame the cops, just the ones who are cowards, who hesitate to pull the trigger unless it is one of ours. Cause he's a black sheep, white boy who doesn't hesitate to make a lot of fucking noise. I'm the black sheep, white boy, and I wouldn't change a thing if I ever had the choice. Cause the red's the color I bleed. Yes, we all do bleed red. I have to protect my family. So I put my people to death.
All right, looks like we're rolling in here. Is anybody here? Is it working? I haven't even had a chance to take a look to see if... It looks like their discussion or lack thereof might be underway. And we shall see. Let's go ahead and bring this up again. And let's hear what's being said.
Yeah, you can't just dismiss it just because it's based off of a survey. That first of all, there's a lot of things you have to understand about the NCBS. They spend millions and millions of dollars on this study. They've
Can
been
you all
doing it
hear
since
that?
1971. They do it every year, conduct the survey twice a year. Millions of dollars spent on this. Some of the smartest people working on refining the technique over the last 50 years since they started doing
this is typical.
In order to get it as accurate.
This is typical. What I heard right before I brought the screen up was, what's the other guy? What's the black guy's name? Bryson. Is it Bryson? He's immediately challenging the validity of the data. Now, what do I talk about when it comes to using data in your attempts to persuade or convince people and then persuade them to do something. How effective or ineffective is that? So this is a sort of a great first step for Bryson to just come out and challenge the data. The data is illegitimate. And now Hypocrite is having to say, oh, no, it is legitimate. So what has the debate become about now? This is forever. I've been talking about this is the way it works out forever.
I don't know what the percentage of those that resulted in arrests, but it's going to be a lot less than 100. And that's where you get the FBI data, although the FBI data is not complete because some precincts don't do their reporting and stuff like that. So there's issues there.
So now you have issues with
this is a very good survey. To suggest that the hate crime statistics are better that's just laughable. And I don't know where you got that thing about transgenderism, just because transgender is self-identity.
Can you all hear me over them speaking? JK160 is here. Thank you for sharing, so we don't end up with a minuscule group of people hearing what matters, but hearing the way to win.
White guy, I want to lie about getting assaulted by a black person for no apparent reason, just because I want to demonize black people, I guess. I can't opt into it. They have to select me, and I have no control over that. The odds of me getting selected are basically nil. It's not something you can control. When it comes to the hate.
Now, what Bryson could have done from the very beginning is he could have prepared himself by jotting down all of the different ways that the data can be challenged and undermined, and then just cavil the entire time about the data that he doesn't like.
A fake crime to the police. I just pick up the phone and report it. I can't opt in to choose to report a fake crime to the end.
So what Hypocrite is having to do right now is he's effectively having to get into other people's minds and say, no, nobody's going to lie during the polling that's taking place. And that, of course, is an extremely weak argument. We like Hypocrite. I don't know who Bryson is, but I'm just speaking my mind. I'm sure I'm going to be agreeing and disagreeing.
Honestly, hilarious. I'm not saying that to be disrespectful. He said, we know a lot of people lie. And then he claimed that 2/3 of hate crime statistics are proved to be hoaxes. Tell him to show a source for that real quick. Just to be clear, there were, let me see, I have all the information just right in front of me. You know, everything is beautiful. The internet is beautiful. So in 2020, of course, there was 8,263 hate crimes. This is not people that are just calling the police. These are investigated hate crimes that the police said were hate crimes. This isn't self-reported. So the reason that this is more valid than a self-reported data set, which most people, if they're being honest, would agree with, is because this had to be investigated to see if there was a hate crime. And then the police precincts that do report to the FBI, then they report that to the FBI. This is not self-reports. So that's why it is 100%.
No, it is. Bryson, if I call the police and tell them there's a hate crime, they're going to investigate it. And just because they investigate it doesn't mean it's not a hoax.
Okay, as I just said, it's investigated by somebody outside of being self-reported, because a lot of hate crimes by the police are proven to be false, and then the police gives you an update on that. And that's why if you look at the hate crime statistics, you're just calling it a hoax because you want it to be a hoax.
He just had to try to walk away from it, like no point was just made there, even though it was defeated. What's interesting here, what strikes me, is that Bryson is relying on the establishment's data when it serves his point. I'd be willing to bet that he has full belief in the anti-white narrative that the establishment is run by white people for the benefit of white people. And that, of course, is a contradiction.
Actually, a reason to cast doubt on the hate crime statistics.
That's 2 interruptions, by the way. After 6, this is passed over for me. I don't really care about having conversations. When people continuously interrupt, it proves they're not listening to what I'm saying. So I do respect you, though. I still follow you on Twitter. I'm not mad at you. But, I'm already on limited time, and I don't care about this conversation that much. So if you're not going to let me talk, just let me know now. I can leave.
Well, I was letting a little back and forth dialogue go. If you want to speak uninterrupted, that's fine. Go ahead.
Okay. So again, you have one set of data. Let me go over what he said about the data, and let's just hold it up to scrutiny and criticism real quick. He said they spent millions of dollars on the survey, and they were refining the technique. Quotes by you, by the way, I wrote them down. And he said that they wanted to make sure they got it accurate because they want an accurate picture of what crime looks like in this country. Now, he said all this to sound good, but I just read to you what they do because they tell you on the data set. They ask people questions and then they document the answers. They don't investigate the answers or nothing. They just document the answers. The only thing they investigate is if this was reported to police, and they only think that because they themselves say they didn't report it. So what Hypocrite is attempting to make me do is to say, we have no reason to just not believe 250,000 people. For sure they're true. And I'm glad you said that, because there's a study that compares other crimes to that study and proves they overestimate, and they always give a higher percentage of what it truly looks like. And I have that in front of me if anybody wants it, or you can look it up yourself. It's a government website, and they give race or ethnicity of the U.S. resident population, and they do violent crimes, and they compare these crimes to the NCVS. You just claimed that it was, you just made another claim that this was a legitimate study after we already know self-reported studies are not legitimate. And the reason I brought up transgenderism, because if you look at why the psychology institution, why they changed transgenderism from being a mental illness, is because of a literal survey. They asked, basically, like, long story short, they asked transgenders were they mentally ill, and they said no. And then they took their word for it. And what's more funny is, and I mean, you made a lot of points. I'm just trying to respond to each one.
Sure.
You said not all crimes reported to police. We know this. People get mugged and don't tell police. That is a non-argument. You arguing from something that can't be proven or disproven. I can say the same thing. If you ask anybody where I'm from, all these black folk, they will tell you with an absolute straight face that they've experienced racism before, and they've experienced racism before, and you would call it bullcrap. Me too. I'm right beside you calling it bullcrap. But I'm calling it bullcrap because, for starters, I don't believe words. Same thing with rape. Women cry rape. Every woman claims they got raped. Are we supposed to take their word for it because they don't report the crime? This is the same argument that feminists use with rape. And he said people get mugged, don't tell police. Once again, I just responded to that. He said 40% that give it to police. You are correct that almost the majority of precincts in this country do not report to the FBI, including whole state. There's a few whole states that don't report. He called it a very good survey, but once again, you can't call self-reporting valid, bro. I mean, that's just well known.
Bryson would be fine with a self-reported study that served his position. This is how it works when people have resort to data, studies, etc.
I grew up in West Memphis, Arkansas, which is right outside Memphis, Tennessee. And for those who don't know, it's about 60 to 70% in that whole area black. Yeah, it's majority black. And I vividly remember getting jacked, and
you can get into the minutia about what a person or people are going to do or will say on a study. You can get deep into that. Ultimately, I could win that discussion as well with any of these people. But the bottom line is that then becomes the subject rather than the subject of our victimization. And you can't allow anti-whites to hijack the conversation. I don't know Bryson if he's anti-white. I have no idea who he is. Never seen him before. But that position that he's advancing appears to be an anti-white position, to diminish the number of times, percentage of times, likelihood of victimization of white people at the hands of anti-white, specifically anti-white black people.
Asinine numbers that the murder rate is in the black community. It happened to majority black people. Black people rob majority black people. So if there's a black on white,
it's mostly black on black crime. Yeah, exactly. I agree with that.
But here's the thing, just so we're clear: if you want to say that black people murder white people at a higher rate than white people murder black people, that is a statistical.
Well, usually they don't murder white or rob white because they're more likely to go to jail if they fuck with a white person. I think that's my view of it. I
think it's more proximity. So it's just
that's true.
Bryson is right there. Proximity.
Yeah, they're just close to the black people. Yeah, that's true.
Can I just bounce you guys? It seems like you got this covered without me.
Sure. Yeah. If you want to,
I just wanted to point out that I don't deny statistics. It is a fact that black people 2.2. I mean, obviously we do per capita to be more, but 2.5 times more likely to murder a white person than a white person is to murder a black person in this country. Nobody denies statistics. What I mean,
that's crazy.
It's a super crazy issue.
That's a crazy stat, though. That's a crazy stat.
Okay, Bryson. So according to
it's not a crazy stat because you're more likely to get struck by lightning. But go ahead.
Can I talk?
Yeah, go ahead.
Can I talk? All right. So according to the 2019 NCVS, there was about 1,500 black on white violent incidents per day. You would agree that that would be a lot, right? But your position is that that number is fake. Is that correct?
My position is that number is not valid. If that number was to be proven to be true, like an FBI data, which is something that's investigated, then of course that'd be asinine if that were true. The issue is you have no other data set. I did research for the last week trying to help you find a data set because that's how I like to go into debates. I want to debate your points for you. The issue is it doesn't exist. The only evidence you have is self-reported data. And the reason you're relying on that and the reason you're trying to justify the self-reported data because you have nothing else.
Okay, Bryson, there's a couple more things you got to know. First of all, one way we validate the NCVS is that we compare the FBI arrest data percentages to the reports. And so, for example, people report that 50% of the muggings are committed by blacks. And then when you look at the arrest data, 50% of the people that are arrested are black. So the data validates each other because it would be a very strange coincidence if a bunch of people were lying, but it also happened to line up in terms of the ratios with the actual arrest data. But here's the silver bullet thing that you have to
Does that change the
Bryson,
audio
your
level
position,
for
okay? You're
debate?
essentially arguing that all of these white people who are claiming on the survey that they were violently assaulted, that they're lying, and that there's such a huge percentage of these white people that are lying that it invalidates the data, that we can't take the numbers seriously because there's a huge percentage of people who are lying.
All right, so is my audio about the same
You
as
have to
theirs
ask yourself,
now?
what is the incentive to lying? We know there's an incentive to lie about hate crimes, which is you get publicity, you can put up your GoFundMe and everything. What is the incentive to lie on the National Criminal Victimization? It's an anonymous survey. It doesn't go out there. So the only reason I can think of is that these people want to demonize black people. So they're pretending, yeah, I got assaulted by a black person, even though it didn't really happen. And so you believe that such a high percentage of white people are lying about this, that you must believe we live in a white supremacist country. If like 2/3 of white people are making up fake stories about getting assaulted by black people, we must live in a white supremacist country. Am I right or am I wrong?
So again, this is a self-reported survey where not most, but a large percentage of these crimes they claim weren't reported to police. Good thing that you said all that, and good thing that there's actually a study comparing things that were reported to police and comparing it to what they claim. Now, obviously, the discrepancy is that a lot of that stuff wasn't reported, but they're just comparing stats. And I posted it. I put it in the chat in this little Google chat thing for
most people don't want to report violent crimes. The thing about it is you can't trust the numbers coming out of these cities. They're almost certainly way higher. And that's just a fact. Well, I'm just being honest. I'm just being honest because well, this is my personal.
They're underreported.
Yeah, they're underreported.
This is an estimate based off the sample, so it gives you a picture of the full.
So I just jump in because this is the kind of like This is the kind of like cacophonous nonsense that you end up. And this is the conversation at the water cooler, at the lathe, at the boardroom, in the living room. This is the kind of conversation when you come to the victimization of Western kind, destruction of Western civilization by way of white erasing our norms and mores. And people delve into, this is like the Jared Taylor approach. And I specifically, when I was on with Hypocrite, spoke out against using all of the data in these contests, even though for a white person, they think it means everything in the world. They're like, oh, we've got that. Like for white people, a map is more real than the actual terrain that you're walking over. That's just in my opinion. Most white people, that's just my opinion. And so you end up, this was supposed to be a discussion, a debate about black, and I'm presuming here that every one of these black individuals would be anti-white, on white violence. And now it's just a debate about what kind of data is legitimate. And he's just going back, and then the Bryson is dominating by the force of his voice and the volume of his voice.
comparing police data of arrest.
You sound pressed.
To the NCVS data.
Get mad.
They show, I mean, I'm not getting mad. I don't.
Yeah, you sound mad.
No, I don't.
I mean, you call me children. You call me weird. You're weird, motherfucker.
Y'all have low impulse
You're
control.
Weird. The non-cussing MAGA rapper. You're fucking weird, dude. Who the fuck are you talking to?
I don't cuss because I'm a
the non-cussing MAGA rapper who got rich off a bunch of boomers. Who the fuck? You're weird, dude. Fuck you. Fuck you. You're the weird nigga. Yeah, you. You're the weird.
All right, yeah. Apologize for that. We don't use that kind of language here on my channel. And I did not know that was going to be said. Hopefully it won't continue.
You sound like a fucking pussy, dude. You sound like a bitch-made pussy. That's what you sound like.
Haven't you got beat up on camera?
Oh,
yeah,
boy.
I have actually.
This is what it descends to.
Hey, bro,
this is debate.
Why do you have these profanity and like talking about their name when you get upset? Have you thought about that?
Are we by their name when I get upset?
Are we trying to recapture our destiny?
Why do you have to call people keywords and stuff like that? I don't care about the N-word. Why do you call me like keywords stuff like that when you get upset? Why haven't I called you a P-word?
Well, because you call me a child, and I'm a grown man. Well, and I said it's like talking to a dumb motherfucker. That's what I said. Yeah. That clearly doesn't even understand the concepts he's talking about because he's a dumb motherfucker. So that's what it's like.
I just sent you the data.
It's like talking to a dumb motherfucker, and I could use another word, but I'm a little bit more elevated than that.
I think this has already gone down the toilet. Over the challenge of the data. By the way, is Entropy working? For anybody, if you click on it, can you see the stream over there?
Platform where the host is actually hosting, rather than getting upset. We can do that.
Well, you're the one that called me a children.
Matter of fact, I hypocrite. We can do this on our own because, as you see, I do not interrupt you when you talk because I give people respect to conversations.
I actually interrupted several times.
Visibly upset right now. He's not going to do anything about it. None of y'all could beat me up.
Nobody's trying to beat you up. What the fuck? Is that the first thing you go to? Being black, you go to violence. Is violence the first thing you go to? Low impulse control? You want to fight? Is that the first thing you go to? You want to fight?
I've seen you fight on camera.
No, I don't fight. No, I mean, I have before. I have before.
It'd be so nice if they would just get this back on track and talk about. But you see how quickly it descended. And it seems like this guy, if Ralph is correct, this guy has made himself wealthy off of radically, we'll just say radically individualistic older white people. So maybe a MAGA supporter. Does anybody know? Griffin, thank you for that. Does anybody know exactly who this Bryson is?
Laugh it up. Talking about I ain't had sex in 10 years. Like, you're a weirdo. Like, I don't know what to say. You're a fucking weirdo.
Hey, bro,
I ain't had sex in 10 words. I ain't had sex in 10 years. Yeah, that's a weird nigga. Like, I don't know what to say. Like,
ignorant, and disavow the language.
Or it says what you think it says.
It does.
I mean, this is
of course not. Of course he's throwing bullshit.
Statistics.
Because he's low IQ.
The part where you think it debunks the NCVS?
No. First
all right, I'll pause them when I speak.
If you read it, this is from I don't know what you're reading. This is the U.S. Department of Justice, and the reason it debunks it.
Yeah, the Bureau of Justice Statistics. Sorry to interrupt, but it's the Bureau of Justice Statistics, which is the same department that does the NCVS. It's the exact same department.
Which is why they compare it to the NCVS, and they compare it to see what it looks like and what it proves. If you scroll down and look at the comparisons to the ones that was reported, you will see that there's clearly discrepancies in the thing when it comes to race. So in the NCVS, in the incidents reported to police. Now, by the way, once again, this is not about the whole study. This is about only the one that was reported to the police, that they claim was reported to police. You will see that 48.3, they say 48.3 is white, but in reality, 52.2% is white. It tells you this in the beginning. It tells you the discrepancies, and they find it interesting, which is why they do it every year. And you can keep on looking yourself.
Is he saying discrepancies?
Or white on black crime than black on white crime? No, it's not.
When did I say that?
Because you sound like a fucking idiot.
God dang it.
Ethan, when did I say that?
Okay, what are you saying then?
Ethan, when did I say that? And why did you make it up then?
What are you saying?
If I didn't say it, why did you just say it?
Okay,
what's your question?
Okay,
what's your position? You're emotional right now?
What's your position?
I gave my position already.
Well, what is it? Like,
I'll tell you again. Don't stress about it. Like I said before, hopefully you listen this time so we don't have to re-say this again.
Right, so Bryson, this says 48% of the offenders reported were white,
and it's Passover. I'm not a Jew. Like, what the fuck?
2% less than
Passover.
What do you? No, go to table 2.
No, I'm looking at table 2.
Yeah, this is not about the next one is the one arrested where it says 45.9%.
Right, 46% versus 48% reported. So there's a minor discrepancy here.
No, I'm just showing you that when people say something, they don't typically lines up, but you can go down. It wasn't just that, but you can go down. But real quick, let me say my
this
position.
is a minor discrepancy. If we take 2% away from the
where does the Bryson guy stream? Is he on YouTube, or I mean, this might fall apart any moment. We can go over and maybe watch one of his videos, and then I can see what his actual positions are, and then see if there's something there to endorse or to burn down.
First time I debunked why it's a terrible study to use in a debate. I gave you clear reasons why, which is actually known in most debate communities. People leave out self-reported data. Like, I don't know how many debates you've been in, but most people leave out self-reported data, bro, for this exact reason. But also, just to answer Ethan's question one more time, I don't deny statistics. My claim is not that black people don't kill white people more than white people kill black people, because that is a statistical fact. It is true. White people last year killed 260 black people, and black people murdered 570 or something like that white people. So it's 2 times more.
Almost double.
And so this is a statistical fact. My claim is
that's an astronomical percentage difference. He's concealing the reality with that data. If you had a black population the size of the white population, then you magnify that number by that percentage increase, and then you get an accurate apple-to-apple comparison. This is the sort of dumb thing that you end up in when you have a debate over data, when you bring data to the table. I've done it. I did it for so many years, back so many years ago, before I got more intelligent than I was then.
Like, I don't disagree with that. Yeah, go ahead.
That's my position. My position is this narrative is being pushed disingenuously. If people were to come out and say black people kill white people more than white people kill black people, I would have retweeted. What is there to argue about? I literally was on Revolt TV, which is I'm sure you know what Revolt TV is, Ethan. And I was on Revolt TV, which is a solely black station, and I was debating BLM people bringing up black on black crime. I don't deny factual issues. The thing is, when people take them issues, and because, no disrespect, but a lot of pro-white people act just like the pro-black people. And when you're pro-white, you have an agenda, and you see an opening for this agenda to be pushed. So you start disingenuously pushing this narrative that is false. And of course, I would call that out the same, or I'm a hypocrite. I call out BLM for the same stuff. So that's my only position.
What's the narrative that he's saying it's, yeah, blacks kill more white people or commit more crimes against white people than whites against blacks, but it's not as bad as the data shows? Is that his actual position? He seems really passionate about that.
Story.
And it's the kind of thing that shouldn't engender that kind of passion.
Because a lot of people won't do that because they're worried about, I'm out of step with the mainstream, or I'm not in line with the popular opinion. And so I do have respect for that. For sure.
And then people be tagging me in videos. Like, a lot of Globbers tag me in videos. Bryson thinks this isn't happening. They'll post a video from like a World Star. A lot of y'all don't even know a lot of these clips originated on World Star Hip Hop. That it makes it kind of funny. And it's like, bro, like, it's like you could post them, cool, but be honest when you post them. Like, stop saying stuff like, I saw so many people saying black people are genociding white people. Like, bro, can we?
All right.
And that's what I was
I don't think it's gotten quite to that level yet.
On Twitter, I was trying to have a conversation with Hypocrite. Because me and Hypocrite are actually cool on Twitter, but so many people started joining in on the conversation that it got muddied. But
there's no reason to have the debate over how bad exactly is it. Once is too many. And that's what we have to put an end to. Why is it happening? It's because of the anti-white narrative, the dehumanization of Western kind. The morality, I mean, we should really be discussing here that anti-whites, because of anti-whiteism, see all of these attacks on white people as a form of revenge, as a form of vengeance. So rape as a form of vengeance, murder as a form of vengeance. This is more of a worthwhile discussion than is the self-reported data legitimate or illegitimate, etc.
Data from the report. So
because they're white?
They're lying. You're saying the white people who say they're getting assaulted by black people are lying, and there's no incentive for them to do that other than they just want to make black people look bad. They have to be self-selected into this. So there must be these racist white people all over the country just ready to get put into this survey so they can make up lies about the innocent black
Don't make
people.
that argument.
Hypocrite. If I like prove you to be like saying a falsehood right now, will you admit it?
If you prove me to say a falsehood,
like what you just claimed is a falsehood, if I prove it, will you admit it? Yes
okay, sure. If you prove, I'll admit it.
Are there only white people in that study?
No.
They're all racists in that study, right?
Yes.
Did I ever say only the white people are lying? Or did I say that whole study?
No, this is the number. So the number of white people saying they're assaulted by black people, this is the only number we care about.
Pear Lady is saying there's nothing of value being discussed in the conversation. There really isn't. I mean, this is instructive for us who are actually changing the world, and tangibly we can see the data everywhere. We can see the things that we're endeavoring to do and the changes happening out in the world. This is instructive for us because this is behavior that I argue against. Do not go to your friends, family, and strangers with a data set and say, well, look here how bad black people are. We call that being white negative. And when you're white negative, you turn people off. You position another group of humanity in the center of your story, and thereby you can't stand up for our people as a consequence with morality in yourself, but also in the eyes of all of those who are viewing, listening, reading what you have to say.
Way I think when women claim, did you know there's a statistic that show that most rapes are not reported, and then they take this percentage of people that claim to be raped, and then they say this is the real. Like,
yeah, but wait, that's an act of shame. Do you think it's an act of shame to be assaulted by a black man?
Huh?
I mean, a rape, why it doesn't go reported is, oh, that's an act of shame against the family, and I just don't want to go through that. Do you think the self-reporting on the, black on white crime, do you think there might be some of that too? That
no, I don't think that's the reason. I think
okay, well, what's the reason? Okay, all right.
Just to be clear, anybody can go through my Twitter. I said this on Twitter. I believe women are lying in these statistics because I don't believe people. Hypocrite is choosing to believe the study. If you want to believe,
are white people lying about getting assaulted by black people? Why?
See how many times that we've come back to that same thing and never getting to the point of the victimization of white people.
Just like, I don't know why people. I don't know why women lie about rape.
No.
He doesn't know why women. There are women who will not report rapes for the shame that they experience. I think maybe that's what Ralph was trying to speak to, not the family, but themselves. And there are women who lie about being raped.
Lie is going to do nothing except skew the statistics. Why are you doing that?
Wait. First off, I disagree with your premise about the rape things. A lot of these women the majority of women that claim to be raped are not popular. They don't get clout from it. I think they're lying for one specific reason. People like to be victims. If you ask most people, are they depressed? People like,
well, if you ask Bernie Sanders, women like to be raped. But that's another story. Sorry, he wrote a college paper on that.
Somebody said women like to be raped. So once again,
Bernie Sanders said that. Yeah, Bernie Sanders said that.
So Caleb is here. Great to see you, brother. So this guy this Bryson guy has made tons of money off of white older people who are conservative. That's his claim to fame. How popular is he? So you say he's on Cozy? Is he on other platforms? And how big are those audiences? Time Traveler says, what Hypocrite is doing right now is one of the hardest things to do in the world. Yeah, I mean, that's why when I went on the show with him, and I think he's a great guy. I think Hypocrite's a great guy. That's why I suggested firmly not to use data. And he intimated in so many ways that he's a big data guy. Caleb says, yeah, he came out with a song, Let's Go Brandon, right after the NASCAR thing happened. Oh, okay. So now that's all the white people. That's such a pathetic thing to see all these paternalistic, simultaneously paternalistic and sycophantic white people running after any non-white person, in particular a black person, who will agree with them, at least superficially, because they feel that it validates their views. The question has always been, why do they feel that it validates their views? That's a question that others don't ask, even bother to ask. Not only have we asked it decades ago, but we have successfully answered it. And this is how we convert. This is how we bring people to a place of going free of this horrible anti-white narrative, where you're inside, you're seeing, it's like right now we're opening the book and we're looking down into the anti-white narrative, the anti-white world, where these conversations take place. And this is between, or among, rather, because it seems like Ralph is involved in the conversation as well. So it's among radical individualists. This is what it looks like.
That are used a lot by academics. That is my claim, and a lot of these meets the same requirement that you think your thing meet. And I guarantee you, if I research you enough, I will find you making the same claim about self-reported studies. If I'm not mistaken, I've heard Nick Fuentes has created self-reported studies. Most people in debate,
same.
even
some are good and some are bad.
No, bro. I'm talking about these are academic self-reported studies.
There's more variables than just whether or not it's a survey.
Bro, I just gave you more variables. Are you? You're not listening.
Okay, so you understand then that things matter, like the sample size matters.
I just said that.
The way the sample is selected matters.
I just said that. Do you not?
So this is exactly what I said within the first couple of minutes. It's become just nothing but a conversation about what kind of surveys or studies are legit, what kind of focus groups, what kind of, and on and on. That's just what it's become. Is there anyone who is, I guess, a cozy member who could log in over there and tell them that we're talking about this? Just mention it in the live chat. Not saying to do that. I'm just asking you if it's possible to do.
Methodology isn't sound because it's based on people answering questions and you just taking their word. The difference between
you think no.
That's what every survey is. People giving you a response and then you taking their word. And you try to control for lying, you try to control for a lot of other things, but that's all you can do. They're not going to be all subjected to polygraph examinations. But again, that's just a discussion about conducting surveys, conducting studies, etc.
Talk about was going to win mayor of Los Angeles, and he was shown in leading all the polls by like 10%. He was black, by the way. And then it came time for poll time, and he lost. So they call it the Bradley effect. People don't always tell the truth in these polls.
So the Bradley effect was back in like the 60s when, and why did that happen? Why did the Bradley effect happen? It happened because of anti-whiteism. Anti-whiteism is a collection of poisonous ideas, largely, that are in the population, and most profoundly effective in the white population. They felt like they were, even when they got that call, even though they were anonymous, that they still had to publicly affirm the anti-white moral position, which was that they favored this one particular candidate. And then when it came time to the actual election, they voted for the guy they actually wanted.
What I'm saying, I'm gonna tell you why. If we were having a debate, if me and Hypocrite were having a debate, and I was defending, and I was saying black on black crime isn't that bad, he put up FBI data. The reason FBI data is so solid when it comes to crime is it's reported. So this is a real crime that people were arrested for. Now it would be better if we had the convictions. Obviously, I'm not saying it's perfect, but these are things that people were literally arrested for. This is set in stone data. And what's worse is not majority, but a lot of places don't even report. So you could even say it could be way worse than this.
Black on black crime is that bad? I'm from Memphis, and I've experienced a little black on black crime, but the majority of the crime I experienced was white on white crime, to be honest with you.
Of course, that's typical though.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of goes back to what you said earlier. Now, that's not that it's not out there, but is this epidemic, like what's got you so fired up on the issue in the first place?
Look at that.
You really do seem to not give a fuck about
Kratom says no white guilt on
Yeah.
YouTube is reviewing your live stream right now.
To begin with,
Wow,
I just
that's
simply
cool.
comment on Twitter, and then everybody else get fired up. So I saw Stu Peters. I saw Stu Peters post something, and I know the video. So I used to watch World Star compilation, so I knew the video was old. He tried to pan it as if it was new.
Underscore 14, no white guilt on YouTube
people
is
just got upset.
reacting.
And people think I'm saying it to be rude, but I'm not. Y'all act just like the pro-black people that get upset. I get called a white supremacist every day on Instagram for calling out black on black crime. Y'all act the same way. It's no rationale. It's no logic. And let me tell you what I mean. Hate crime statistics are used on me non-stop for black people to say black people are under attack, because when it comes to, because most hate crimes are based on race. 61% of hate crimes that are people that have been investigated, not
thank
just
you, Amma.
investigated, are based on race. And the majority of the people that get the short end of the stick, the majority of the time, are black people. And these pro-black people use the statistic all the time. I discredit hate crime statistics myself, not for the same reasons as Hypocrite does. I believe that there's an agenda by police to make it seem like black people are victims, which I can't prove, but that is my theory on why hate crime statistics are invalid. And the only reason I'm bringing them up now, because if you want to be on a scientific, you want to use it like science on a scientific basis, this statistic is more of a valid statistic than self-reported data, which is the only reason I brought it up.
I'll give you the red pill on hate crime statistics right now. First of all, black people are overrepresented also as perpetrators of hate crimes, which is something you don't hear a lot. If the police were cooking the numbers because they feel sorry for black people, why would black people be overrepresented as perpetrators of hate crimes? They're the only race that's overrepresented, because black people commit so many hate crimes that all the other racial groups end up being underrepresented because the black people fuck up the statistics. Now, here's the real red pill on hate crime statistics. When they break down the FBI, when they break down the offender race and the victim race, they don't separate violent and nonviolent hate crimes. So what you have is all these black people committing violent hate crimes because black people are violent. And then you have all of these fake non-violent hate crimes, which even if they weren't fake, who gives a fuck if somebody like put skid marks on a gay pride painting on the sidewalk? But they lump all that in together, the fake shit, the real shit, and then they say, oh, black people are victimized because black people are making up fake hate crimes, calling the police because somebody called them the N-word. They need to stop.
The question here is, what is a hate crime? What is it called a hate crime today? Why are you indulging a concept that anti-whites of all races, including white people, designed to magnify punishment for white people whenever they could dilate law and ensnare white people in conflict with non-white people? We see again and again that these laws, like the one now that is a bill to become law in Florida as a consequence of the imbeciles there screaming at Jewish people, leaving their synagogue, driving away in their Toyota Tercel or whatever it is, the real holders of power on planet Earth, let me tell you. And so that will become law, and they'll be able to say that X act was a hate crime, and then you'll go to jail as a consequence as a white person. Why are some, this is a great example of something that I point out all the time, anti-whiteism, this system, the anti-white narrative, anti-white morality targets white people, but non-white people are collateral damage. It's never as bad for them as it is for white people, but some of them do get harmed as a consequence of anti-whiteism. So in this case, you have occasionally some non-white people who are ensnared in hate crimes charges. Of course, my opinion. Very often it is between or among, or I should just say maybe often between or among non-white groups, or what they'll refer to, the system will refer to as victim groups, which are really privileged groups. It's between and among them that these charges end up getting filed. It seems, at least to my perception, that it is far less filed against non-white people for crimes against white people, because for the love of God, by the standard of a hate crime, every single crime against white people would be a hate crime, because where is a rapist magnanimously, a non-white, anti-white rapist of any race, magnanimously overlooking the victimization that he claims that white people have done to him and his people since eternity. Where is that happening? Where are the beatings happening magnanimously? And you can do the same thing for the victim groups, the privileged groups. You can do the same thing. Where do they say go and gun down a bunch of white people, a la recently, and are magnanimously overlooking what they see as white Western norms projected from white people that put them into a state that made them hate themselves and have no chance in society? In every case, these people are thinking these things. If hate crimes were defined by your antagonistic, angry, hateful thoughts about the group that you're victimizing, then that would 99.9% of the time be the case of non-white people who are victimizing white people, and victim group, privileged group, white people or non-white people who are victimizing white people, either by way of physically victimizing us or victimizing us by way of white erasing our norms, our habits, etc.
Some of these videos that we seeing, and y'all be just not even. Don't say I don't know if you'll disagree. So I don't know.
Well, I got jumped in the video that you seen of me fighting. I got cold clocked from the side of the head.
Yeah, I was just joking when I said that, by the way. I just wanted to make you a little more mad.
Man. Oh, by the way, all that stuff earlier, man, me and Bryson, I don't have any problem with Bryson. He knows I'm talking shit.
Nah, we good. But listen, y'all guys like learning how to fight, bro. Because most people not even punching back, bro. I'm like, it's almost so hard. Like if it's like obviously somebody enormous, then it's different. But when I see like a fair fight, some of these videos, and y'all call it bad, and it's simply because the white person is like a lot of times is not fighting back. I'm like, Jay Shields wouldn't do that. Jay Shields and Kobe Covington, I know them. They'll beat up 99% of humans. I think y'all need to like learning how to fight if I'm keeping it a band.
You gotta hook those legs.
Well, it's not about being able or how to fight. You can see on white people when they are confronted, especially with non-white people, because of the white guilt. There are these massive gaps, these massive pauses where you see no movement from the white person. And that's because of that turmoil from the subconscious mind that we talk about, that infected subconscious mind, which is fully aware at that moment that even though they're being physically attacked or about to be physically attacked, that they, the white person, are the aggressor, that the observers are going to conclude that the white person is guilty, that the white person has done something to instigate. And they are weighing in their subconscious mind, and that's coming forward into the conscious mind, which ends up taking so much time, whether or not they will be seen one way or another as they're being physically attacked. So there's no time for that shit in a physical altercation. That's why you see white people will just be standing there, and it'll be coming at them. There'll be this wild aggression coming at them, and they're sitting there like nothing's going through their head, but in reality, it's this massive tug of war going on in their head. Even once they're being physically beaten, they're down and they're just trying to survive the beating. It's still going through their heads how this will be viewed.
But it's not quite as well suited to raising a family.
Charlie Knight says, sad you're not there to set the record straight. Well, precisely.
Are you scared of the cartel?
No, the cartels don't. They don't operate here in the Yucatan. There's certain states they operate in, and certain states they don't. So this is kind of like a safe zone for the cartels. Yeah.
Okay, I do got a question unrelated to this debate.
What debate?
Friend, I don't know if she's a tranny or not. Tree of Life.
What?
Tree blocked me, bro.
Oh, snap. My question is, why does he never post them secret pictures of me that she said she had?
I don't know. It's a cringe look from Tree, I gotta say.
She posted a picture with me and Nick Fuentes that was on my Twitter, and when she posted it, she said, I had this picture on my hard drive. You got a picture of me and Nick Fuentes at a Kanye West concert on your hard drive? That's kind of odd since it was on my Twitter. And then she was telling people because she had a picture of me and Nick, she's trying to say me and Nick Fuentes are boyfriends or something.
He just picked his nose. He just picked his nose with his thumb on this live stream.
Things, but she's got a weird thing.
Nah, she's a weird bitch.
So this is what you have. This is your big debate. This is how, how right am I? How right am I once again about how you put an end to the victimization of our people? Once again, I'm 100% right. Once again. It completely and immediately devolved into a debate of whether or not the data is legitimate. Maybe I've done this a few times.
Chased him down, and then the guy got out and pulled out his gun.
Gungan_sin sent $3. Go on Cozy and get assaulted by a black.
And I could have ran over him, but I was like, man, it's not worth it because I don't have a.
So this Bryson guy is on Cozy. I thought this network was supposed to be for various views on putting it into the victimization of white people, like white sympathetics. And he seems, and Caleb also seemed to be supporting the idea that this is a guy who's just making a bunch of money off of white old folks so that they can be paternalistic and also servile to non-white people, so that their views can be legitimized. Oh, I feel so good now because my views are legitimized now because a non-white person agrees with me.
Any real crime?
I got robbed at gunpoint.
These are the people who get all the views.
Police abuse their authority with me, but it was a black lesbian cop. So
look, okay,
that's that. But nah, I have friends that used to be in the KKK, bro. Like I don't like. I have so many type of friends. The way I grew up, yeah, our brother. Yeah, we got somebody that we call part of our family who literally used to be like he was on a documentary for being in one.
So the debate is over. Now they're finding people who aren't present to badmouth them. That's essentially what this was. Let's see what you all are saying. He's Real says he's not a leader. Who's not a leader? Elizabeth said Bryson married a white woman. What a surprise. Is that real? Is he married to her now? What a surprise. And this reminds me actually something I was driving the other day. Happy Easter to everybody, by the way. This is not a very happy these people on motorcycles, like the Harleys or the Hondas that are like the Harleys, or I guess are there Yamahas too. And for the longest in the anti-white narrative, still to this day, you'll see this talk about, well, if it's white people on motorcycles, it's evidence of the villain in the anti-white narrative. These are just Nazis ready to, they hate non-white people. All they want to do is harm non-white people. And it seems to me, maybe you all can chime in as well, but every time the weather gets good anywhere in Northern Virginia, well, I mean, anywhere that I go when the weather gets good, and I see a group of motorcycle enthusiasts, if you will, it could be 3, it could be 20. Every single time I see that a group like this, I see at least one non-white guy with a white woman on his motorcycle. And I'm going to go out on a limb here and be 100% correct that all of the other white guys in this biker group are servile to the non-white guy that's there. And it's almost always older people.
FBI crime stats is the best we have.
I mean, you can still extrapolate from it, but like it's not the full numbers, though, right?
Yeah, I mean,
like,
it can't be perfect unless everybody reports.
Yeah, that's true.
It can't be perfect.
Right,
a survey can't be perfect unless every single person participates.
I'm looking.
Okay. Okay. Well, you know what, buddy? Why don't you leave data collection to people who've been doing data and books since we have been writing? Since we created Western civilization, we've been doing the data and the books. Why don't you leave that to us?
That was the thing. Like I couldn't even see it.
No, we got for Passover.
All right, let's see if this will play. Hold on, here we go. This will play.
What are they trying to do?
Ego Baby sent $5. Great show, Ralph. Bryson, I understand that you never eat breakfast. However, if you had eaten breakfast this morning, how would you feel?
This is so ridiculous.
Small fires like Snickers on
Scott.
We need to get
dollars.
This was a debate. This was seriously promoted, and was everywhere I was looking. I was hearing about this big debate between Hypocrite and this Bryson gray. And that's what it consisted of. And now you're going to have, how many of these people are going to come away from this? These observers, like in the stands, have nothing to do to change the world. They're just, and if something happens they like, they cheer and they take credit for it. If something happens out in the world they like, something doesn't happen the way they like, they just become morose. And you'll understand black-pilled if you're one of those midwits out there, like we're seeing here. That not hypocrite, not a midwit, but they become morose and they're like, oh, nothing can be done, nothing can ever succeed. Except we over here in Service to White Well-Being with this method are succeeding day in and day out. So maybe you are intentionally blind on that, or maybe just too midwittery to step up out of that morass into something that can succeed for your life, for your family, for your community, and for our countries. Are they wrapping up now? Is this seriously?
$3, although I disagree with Bryson. He made some great points.
What points?
I enjoyed the debate.
What debate?
I remember watching YouTube as a kid in 2009 and wondering why all the armed robberies were black people and honestly not understanding it.
It's a conspiracy.
What debate? What were the good points? Are these... Is this really this low IQ? Is it really this low IQ?
Oh man, but it was ketchup or something else crazy. Like,
I guess we should just make fun of what the
other ones? I never had
retardists are saying.
Dressing, like,
yeah, I never had a salad. Period.
With a voice like that, he doesn't have testicles either.
Why would you not eat salad?
It tastes like grass. Why would I eat something that look like it tastes like grass?
It's good.
What does he eat? Doritos?
Play football, grass. I'll taste good. Oh, I don't eat spaghetti.
Fuck, I'd probably be dead if I didn't eat salad and drink water. I guess I'd already be dead, but yeah.
I drink a lot of water though, and I eat a lot of
salad.
protein.
Yeah, what's a salad?
I do anything green unless it's the top part of broccoli. I don't eat the stem. I feel like the stem is meant for you holding it with your hands.
Dude, that's Oh, I will say, yeah, I can agree with not eating. I eat the stem of broccoli, but I can agree with not eating the stem of broccoli because it's kind of like, yeah, the broccoli flora.
How is this a conversation? I am in the twilight zone. I am absolutely in the twilight zone. Hearing such midwittery that pulls in all kinds of viewers and money and attention and people talking about it. And it could not be, please God in heaven, tell me that the government is intentionally channeling people to this level of retardation. Please tell me that this is not the natural state. And this is the, I eat the broccoli, but only the tops of the broccoli, not the, and then the Ralph guy is saying the same thing. I can get on board with to not eating the stalk of the broccoli. What, are you joking? Are you joking? How is that a conversation?
What about you, hypocrite? What's your favorite food before we get out of here? I told him I was going to keep it 30 minutes. I got him a lot longer. I appreciate him staying with me.
I got
to argue, so we got to stay longer.
Hypocrite's a good guy, so I got to feel bad for him to have to sit through this.
Hypocrite.
Steak and potato guys. I eat I eat broccoli though. I eat salad. I eat all that shit.
What do you eat, man? What's your favorite meat?
My closing statement.
Hold on.
Oh yeah, let's hear Hypocrite's closing statement, Ralph. Somebody give Ralph a piece of broccoli.
And Ralph, he be dissing Lyndon by not letting him speak up.
I diss Lyndon.
Give Lyndon a chance to have his say.
Okay, you know what? I want somebody to go through and do a clock of speaking time of people throughout the show.
I think I probably talked the least out of the three of us, but that's okay. I'll just give my last 2 cents.
I don't think that's true.
They got into it though.
Yeah, I know that's because me and you started arguing, but it wasn't about that much.
They're like fucking reminiscing on 10 minutes ago. How dumb can this be? How absolutely brain dead are they? Is it from the shots? Oh, wait, Hypocrite's talking.
Or whatever. Ask anybody with an IQ over 100. Ask Sean Last. Ask Ryan Falk. Ask any of these science guys what they think about the NCVS, and they'll tell you that it's a very useful resource. Bryson, when pressed on why these people are supposedly lying on the survey, he couldn't offer any explanation other than waving his hands and saying all surveys are fake and gay and everyone's a liar. He couldn't even come up with a hypothetical motivation for why people are supposedly lying on this survey. And the last thing I want to say is that Bryson doesn't want you to draw conclusions from the violent videos that you see every day.
Okay.
And he doesn't want you to draw conclusions from the best
Anonymous
available
sent
data
$3
either.
debate, no
So I
white
guess
vote next
nothing's
time.
going on. There's no problem with black on white violence. And we should all just throw our hands up in the air and say, well, it's impossible to actually know. Don't believe your lying eyes when you see the videos. Don't believe the stats, because the people responding to the surveys are just lying because they hate black people. It's kind of silly.
All right. I'm gonna say I'm gonna have my last statement, then I gotta go. Everything you just said, to be frank.
By the way, wait, before you go, we got to get you in Dallas, dude, for Kingpin 2. Like, what's your fee for like performing? Like, I mean, we'll talk off air. We'll talk off air, but
What's your fee for performing?
Really? Are you serious?
Nick asked me what would it take to give me an AF. I'm like, bro, just come. I don't like.
Are you serious? I'm gonna add you to the list if you're serious, because it's in Dallas. It's not too far away.
Yeah, I'll come.
Okay, all right, May 20th. May 20th.
Yeah.
Right.
So he said. So this was my last statement. Hypocrite said I couldn't offer an explanation on why I believe people were lying, but I did give an explanation. My explanation was people like to be victims. It being anonymous doesn't matter. All rape statistics are anonymous. All these statistics are anonymous. And if you really start doing research, you understand that people just lie in these type of surveys. Everybody knows this, but it's just not a debate. Come on. And then he said something about Bryson doesn't want you to draw conclusions from videos. That's never what I said. Once this is a false argument. My claim was, first off, it's not just the videos. It's the fact that they're promoting videos saying white people are getting genocide now. What's getting worse in this country? These are verbatim quotes.
Go ahead.
Yeah, these are verbatim quotes from the captions on Twitter from these videos, knowing good and well these videos are 10 years old. Some like 7 years. You can look at them. Anybody don't believe your eyes, guys. You know them videos about 7 years old. Also, and what I think, honestly, from him saying that is, you, in my opinion, I hypocrite. What you're doing is you are actually supporting people being disingenuous by pushing something, because
I will spell it out when this retardus is done.
Because you made the silly assumption by claiming Bryson doesn't want you to believe the data because Bryson believed that it's just a bunch of white racists. Once again, you argue with yourself, because I never said that. And you said this is the best available data. Incorrect. The best available data are the FBI statistics. And then you brought up don't believe your eyes again. Once again, I never said don't believe the videos, because these are videos of actual people being attacked. I said the narrative is disingenuous. And this is, it's
now, why are they doing this?
You said what?
I said, why are they doing this?
I have multiple theories, because, and you can ask me.
I got a theory.
I know multiple right-wing companies that pay people to push agendas.
Oh my God!
I know this because they try to push agenda against Nick Fuentes, and I copied and I got the PDF file and sent it directly to them. So they don't only pay you to promote products; they will literally pay you to flat out attack somebody. And I think, because if you look at Stu Peters and Jeff Younger, they post them around the same time of the day, and every day you'll notice the theme of the time they post them. And it's an everyday thing. But that's just an assumption. Also, I don't know if they're getting paid or they just want to push an agenda. They just pay somebody to find videos.
That's what
all
it's
day long.
sure.
Because you can't just find these videos regularly. You have to go through.
No, you have to go looking for them.
Yeah, yeah.
Videos. Sure. I'm on Telegram groups and I see the videos every day. Every day.
All right, so ultimately the disagreement is, if you could find your way through this absolute morass of shit, this low IQ morass of shit, is you have, and this is the push that, of course, is incorrect, coming from the radical individualists that would call themselves right wing, is that if you see enough of a non-white group, in this case the black race, misbehaving, that somehow it will make things better for white people. It doesn't make anything better for white people. I've been arguing this for decades, and you can see that in the outcomes. Radical individualists, white people, that's what they are. They don't view themselves as a people, as a race, as a community. They don't see videos of non-white people attacking white people, and then immediately their heart goes out for the white person as it would for their mother or their brother or their father. And that's how it has to be. That's what would happen if we were a people. Instead, what these videos do is they further fuel the radical individualism of the white race. I don't think they're a good thing to just push these videos endlessly of non-white people attacking white people. When they are shared, there needs to be the step from, hey, here are one of our, or more than one of our people being attacked. And why is that? What kind of state is this person in? Are they well? Did they survive? How are their families suffering? Those are the questions we have to ask and answer. And then we have to ask and answer, why is this happening to us? And if you dare to go down the path of it's because this other group is bad, you are then centering that group in the discussion. If you center that group in the discussion, guess who can't be centered? Western kind, Westmen, men, women, and children. White people can't be centered. Our victimization and how to put an end to our victimization. Instead, the mind is focused on the warts of another group of people, and there is no remedy to that other than or no action to that, because the outcome is only to slander further said group, whatever that group may be. And in this case, of course, it is blacks. Now, a black guy who is riding high on anti-whiteism within the radical individualist right wing is here with his dollars, and he's going to put up with the attacks. He's going to put up with the pressure. He's going to put up with the people even using obscenities toward him, because he's getting bank and he's getting dollars. He's probably getting sex out of it, etc. And he's going to go ahead and put up with it. But he doesn't like the growing, naturally, since he's very clearly black, he does not like that there's this growing animosity, even though it's from radical individuals, from white people. So he wants to say, yes, black people are X, Y, or Z at a higher rate, even though he hid with the percentages how bad it actually is by not adjusting for population size, which is so typical of anti-whites when it comes to the victimization of white people. That it would take hours to go through all of the examples of how they break down and distort data in order to make it serve an anti-white objective. But he wants to say, Bryson Gray wants to say, oh, it's not that bad. Yes, it's worse. So pay me, white people. I'm black and I'm willing to have my hand out, and I'll say that if you'll pay me for it. But don't get so mad. It's not so prevalent. It's not so ubiquitous that you bunch of radical individualists decide to cut me loose from this wonderful cash cow. Don't cut me loose from this wonderful cash cow and sex cow and lull cow and everything else. Just don't cut me loose from it. That's his argument. Hypocrite, regrettably, is implementing data, which I think is a very unintelligent way to advocate against anti-whiteism and our victimization. But he's not only doing that, regrettably, he's using data to center black people and to discuss and fixate on and magnify endlessly the warts of the black race. And that, of course, is taking that whole group, not as individuals, as a consequence, which they then turn around and will do. And that, of course, is hypocrisy. You can't say, well, they're all like this, except for this one that's my buddy, except for this one who will say conservative things from time to time. You can't do that. So another error of centering another group of mankind. And I'm not even beginning to talk about what this does to you internally when you are focused negatively on another group of man, what that does to you spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and what therefore is not happening in favor of positivity toward our people, a growing connectivity, individual well-being by way of our group well-being. This is why people want to ask all the time, why isn't anything happening? Why don't we ever stand up together? Why don't we ever put up for down? Because there is no together. That's why you have to use the go free method to create a together. That's why you have to use the go free method to create a people. I mean, let me just come on and I'm white and I don't like that we're being victimized. And this is not me. This is so many of these radical individualists out there. They're like, I don't like that I can't get the job. I don't like that I can't get the promotion. I don't like that I can't get the enrollment in the school because of anti-whiteism. I don't like that people who look like me are being physically attacked in the world. I don't like that. I don't want that to happen to me. I don't want that to happen to my immediate family. So I'm going to gather all this data to show how awful this other group of humanity is. Are you kidding me? I mean, seriously, no shit that hasn't done anything to put an end to our victimization.
Both natural disasters,
has
I
about
guess
a
you could say.
5% chance of committing murder in their lifetime. That's way higher than lightning. I'm not saying that means a white person has a 5% chance of getting killed by a black person, but a black person has a 5% chance, or I think it's 4.5.
Natural disaster.
So I haven't seen that, but let's just pull up the FBI statistics real quick. I just want to see something because there are 40 million black people in this country. So if you cut that in half, that'd be 22.5 million black people. The FBI statistics show that there were 2,500.
40 million cut in half is 22
by black people in the latest FBI update. So 20.
Let us do the math.
Do the math with that, with 22.5 million black people. Would that line up with that? I'm asking.
Yeah, but that's 1 year. I said across the span of their whole lifetime.
So how will we reconcile that with the statistics? So let's do 2,500 a year.
The data analysis is there. It's done by Data Hazard on Twitter, and they did Jared Taylor did a write up on him.
Oh, Jared Taylor,
where he.
So you see, our good friend, Hypocrite, he had access to Jared Taylor. He had access to Jason Kuna, and he's decided to go the Jared Taylor route with the data. Did the Jared Taylor route work?
Based off of FBI data.
Like you believe it's based off FBI data? Like, can you show me where they said that in the study, or show me how it connects with the FBI data? The FBI data is something set in stone that we can look at.
I'll send it to you. Yeah, I'll send it to you.
Yeah, because black people commit most of the murders in this country, 51% to be exact. But when you do the amount of black people in this country, you're talking about lifetime. There's a lot of complications in that type of study if you're going to do those type of numbers. Because how many of the people that commit murders are repeat offenders? What's the conviction?
See. I mean, this Bryson guy is an utter midwit, and it has nothing to do with his race. He's an utter midwit. And look how easy it is for him to chip away at the data, the legitimacy of the data. There are other ways too. I'm not even going to bother to mention them. It's just boring. I don't want to give people like him info anyhow. But to chip away at the data and then make the conversation about the data and the study and which studies are legit, which aren't legit.
So the murders in this country, why is that? How do we change that? How do we fix that? I guess somebody like
why do you think that is? Wait. Why do you think that is?
I think there's multiple. I think it's two things. I think it's
Greek guys. Well, what a with your name. I mean, I'm not surprised that you would use the ultimate anti-white slur. Obviously means that you're anti-white.
Yeah.
And if you look at the rich black neighborhoods in Atlanta, the crime rate is super low, like way lower than the national average versus the hood spots in Atlanta. But then you look at culture, all popular music is degenerate, but the difference between, rap music degeneracy and rock music degeneracy, yeah, they're a bunch of drug addicts, but in rap music, they promoting and highlighting killing and murdering people as if like that's a cool thing to do, and not even in a self-defense way. It's like a purely just go kill somebody type of way.
I'll give you credit. You do mention killing people in your raps.
In self-defense.
In self-defense, yeah, I was about to say, you're right. And now I never thought about it until now that every time you're mentioning that in your raps, it's in self-defense. So yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I get a lot of.
I never thought about it until now. This is your grandmother with a beard and a drug problem.
Yeah, go back to what you were saying before. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah, so I think that's the issue with why the black murder rate is so high, because these things get like, so where I grew up in High Point, North Carolina, a lot of people grow up now not even wanting to be drug dealers. You know, back in the day, everybody wanted to be a drug dealer. Now it's different. Everybody takes pride in being.
What world did he grow up in? Everybody wanted to be a drug dealer. That's not America. America is inside Western kind. Yeah, there's no way, Zeb, that he's 140 IQ. No, he is a warm 98, maybe 95, 96 IQ.
Or more,
and that's why he fits in perfectly with so many older white people.
Using in-country statistics to prove that point. That's a silly point to prove, because if you look at history,
you know, that is a lot of people that say that.
Yeah,
I know. What if we compare the rich Atlanta neighborhoods to a rich white neighborhood? Though?
Now wait, hold on. Now wait. Let him get in. Let him get in, because I wanna let him get in unbroken on this.
So the issue with the inherent, and I said this on large debate I had with Dalton and a few other people we had this debate. People only think that because they're looking at it from an in-country statistic, the statistic that you can prove. The issue is, when you look at history in this world, the most violent people are people that go slaughter people, to take over land and take over countries. Which group has done that the most? It ain't black people.
Oh my gosh.
Which group has done that the most? It's white people.
You mean which group has been the most successful? Because in Africa, the different black tribes absolutely have slaughtered and taken land and taken sex slaves and taken, it's endless warfare. Of course, that's my opinion. Check it out with CNN.
I don't know, bro.
What the fuck are you talking about?
So what he's saying is, which group succeeded against the others? And then wants to, that's telling you everything you need to know about whether or not he's anti-white. Because that is purely an anti-white position. You all succeeded, feel immoral for it. Take down your guard, allow us to victimize you. And us being anti-whites, not black people or whatever.
Like you smart.
1994.
Stop doing it. Thank you. Happened in 1994. Before that, there was no such thing as a genocide in Africa. And go look up why the genocide in Rwanda happened. Go look up who pushed that to be. Go look up who was a part of.
There was never a genocide in Africa before white people went down there and started recording such things. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and go out on a limb and say, yeah, there were lots of them.
I did educate you. You know what
I want to see you at the Kingpin. Are you for real about coming to the Kingpin? I want to have you perform and like put a spotlight on you and actually have like a real performance. I want to have a comedy act. We're gonna have a bowling tournament. Like, we're doing everything at this thing. And Harrison Smith from InfoWars and Beardson Beardley and a bunch of other people already confirmed. So.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Just DM me about it.
Sure.
And I Hypocrite, once again, I like you, bro. But next time we have a debate, you just do a little bit more research, bro. It'll be a little bit better. Love you, dog.
All right, bro. All right, bro.
I'll try. Thanks, Bryson.
All right, now I Hypocrite. I'll give you the final word because you didn't get in there.
I'm good. I kind of my closing statement that I gave earlier, that stands. So anybody, like I said, anybody who thinks the NCVS is garbage, just ask anybody who isn't a retard about it, and they'll tell you it's actually a really.
So essentially, Hypocrite's argument is here: National Community Survey is legitimately condemns black people for how awful they are. It's legitimate. Black people are, that's his position. Oh, who cares? Who cares? What has that done for white people? What has complaining about black people or complaining about Jews? These things are just crutches. That's why I call these people the crutch cult. Especially the ones that'll call themselves namers or noticers or all this kind of stupid stuff. What has that ever done? Nothing. It has not put any end to our victimization whatsoever. So, but they're going to have, this retardus event. It's going, to be the midget wittery event. And all the midget wits are going to get together and they're going to have a good time bowling, and there's going to be money. Here's the thing. Here's the thing that you need to understand about this. I'm going to go ahead and drop this. Here's the things you need to understand that is really troubling, especially for me and for you who care about putting an end to the victimization of Western kind, is this: that people like Jared Taylor and other potential financiers, they don't have the ability to evaluate the success of a method by any metric other than how many asses are in the seats. They're going to be able to have a big event here, and there'll be other events full of people that are this king retardus, this midwit and midget wit retardus idiots, and Jared Taylors and other these fetish financiers and the rest out there are going to see, look at how many people have shown up. And then we have people all the time who will come into this chat and will say, oh, this guy is right or that guy is right because look at how large the audience is. That audience there was 8 times the audience we have here. Do you really think that they are right? Do you really think that what was being discussed there had any merit or any value whatsoever? For what? For what? White people wanting to, radical individualistic white people showing up to say, black people are horrible. Look at the data I've collected. And a black guy showing up to say, it's not as bad as you make it seem. Don't cut me loose from this cash cow. And your data is all flawed. Oh, the data is real. Oh, the data is flawed. Oh, the data is real. Oh, the data is flawed. And then 10 minutes after that, they're reminiscing about that conversation. The problem is that if this were a conference, we would have 90 people showing up, 100 people showing up in seats, and that's all the financiers would see. That's all the Sams would see, the Jareds would see, and all of these other folks. That's all they would see. Well, you got 90, you got 100 here. These folks would have 800 some showing up, filling the seats. The financiers, the Sams, the Jareds, they're going to say, whoa, something big is here. I'm going to put my weight behind it. I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to write the checks to it. And that's problematic because my actual objective, and it has been for decades, proven by my self-sacrifice here. I've not become a millionaire by this. I don't go out there and just preach what everybody wants to hear. I don't tell everybody about how bad it is and then all the horrible things about non-white groups out there that can be said or made to appear with data. I don't go out and do that. The problem with this is that the thing that works, the method that works, the thing that brings people of all races together against anti-whiteism, which is the great evil of our age, which targets white people but collaterally damages all people of all races. That endeavor, that individual, that nucleus of heroes at the center of that method is not getting the attention. It's not getting talked about. It's not getting the dollars, and dollars are what is needed to fund our efforts, to fund any efforts to bring it to the world, to bring it to our brothers and sisters, so they'll stop seeing themselves as these radical individualists. It's getting totally disgusting that you can have white guys out on a job site somewhere, or white guys up in a high-rise building in the boardroom, and they're wondering about how to put an end to the total destruction about Western civilization. And when they look out into the world, the people who are getting financed and the names that they're likely to see and the debates that they're likely to watch are all going to be centered on how bad blacks are, how bad Jews are, how bad Mexicans are, how bad. And that, my friends, is psychological warfare. That is why nothing ever good happens for white people. That is why we can never put an end to the victimization. That's why it just marches forward day after day after day, and the people become apathetic. Everywhere you look, the white people are apathetic because when they try, they use tools like this. It doesn't work, just as it did not work for our friend, Hypocrite. I'm being critical of him. He's our friend. I'm an adult. He's an adult. He can handle it. Our friend, Hypocrite, goes out there. He had me on, and I talked for like 2 hours about different strategies that you can use in debate. It was even considered a pre-debate prepping stream. And he said to me, and I don't know if it was on air or off air, maybe both, talking about Jared Taylor and the data. And do you use the data? I said, absolutely not. Never use the data, because here's how it can easily be undermined. But there's this force of inertia about the way it's done, and the people who get the big dollars, the people who get the attention, the people who get the audiences, the people who have everybody showing up to watch and to be chatting in the live chat. That inertia says you got to just focus on other races of people, talk about how bad they are, even though I, Hypocrite, and me and you, we don't want to be condemned on the basis of our race. The difference, I think, for me and for you, most assuredly, is that we don't want to be condemned on the basis of our race, because our race is being victimized. Our brothers and sisters are getting harmed. The vast majority of white people out there, and that's why they can take these positions of demonizing the totality of another group of people, or virtually the totality, and they're like, well, there's a good one here, a good one there. The reason why they can do that is because they're radical individuals. They don't really give a fuck what happens to you. They don't give a fuck. They're like, well, I care in that. When you break it down with them, they're like, I care in that if we just totally eliminated this non-white group of people, as though that's going to happen. If we just totally eliminate some non-white group of people, or they just decide, they build a spacecraft and they just decide they're going to leave one day, well, then all of us radical individualistic white people won't be harmed anymore. We are not going to recapture our destiny by being radical individuals and hoping to eliminate radically individualistically viewed threats. Do you fucking get that? I mean, do you get that? We are not going, and the evidence comes from generations of generations. I had no idea this was going to be this bad. The evidence comes from generations before us. You do not reclaim the destiny of Western kind and take back what's been destroyed of our countries by attempting to remove from those environments radically individual or threats to your radical individualistic self. Does anybody not understand that? I'm going to say it again. You cannot, as a radical individual, look out into your country and say, X is a threat to me, and therefore X has to go so that therefore I'm safe. You do not win in a world of collectives as a radical individual. And that is the behavior of, and very often you'll find these people who are radical individualistic talking about the radical individualism and the path to safe life, rewarding for the radical individual, as though it were a collective. They view it, when you really break it down, as a collective of individuals. And then you'll have some of these people who will say, oh, it's just what you're talking about there is socialism. I want just blatant radical individualism, and you want radical individualism that you'll call collective by way of socialism or whatever, national socialism or whatever other garbage like that. Does anybody not understand that? Does anybody not understand that you don't make the world better? You don't make our countries better. You don't make our neighborhoods better by looking out as an individual, a radical individualist, and saying, what's a threat to me? Because that's what they're doing. When you take data about how bad another group is, or you take research about, look at how much this group is behind these bad things that are happening in the world, what you're doing is you're saying, I'm a radical individualist. I need to eliminate that threat to me, and then my life will be better. I don't give a fuck about you as a radical individual. How am I this much more intelligent than everybody else? I mean, seriously, how am I this much more intelligent? And that being the case, why won't people who are less intelligent just listen and do what works? Why is that? I feel like I have to say it like 20 more times in a row. You cannot reclaim the safety in our countries, Western civilization within our countries, being seen before the law as this. So there being law and order instead of what we have now, which is no law and order. Securing the right to self-defense, securing the right to freedom of speech. You cannot do that as a radical individualist looking at the world and saying, if this were removed, I will be better. And therefore, everyone will be better. You fucking dumbasses. This is why, one of the major reasons why the people, the real crutchers, the real crutch cult that will show up will say, well, if you're not talking about the how awful this other group is here, then you're not doing anything. Because it's in their mind, they don't even realize how radically individualistic they are. All they're doing is saying, if that whole group didn't exist, I wouldn't have my individualistic problems. Here I come. The white race finally has somebody with the answers, and you guys are just dumb motherfuckers. And we get shit like this. This is what we end up with. 100 people watching the thing that's intelligent, that works. Nearly 900, 800 some odd people watching total retardation. And again, you might say, but Jason, of course, they're midget wits. Of course, there are just a lot of the midget wits, and a lot of midget wits have been attracted to this one, rat trap, this one rat nest. Well, that would be fine if they would just go off and be in their rat nest where midget wits go. But that's not what's happening, is it? Because the people in if you want to call it like the alternative news, or they look at these numbers. The financiers, they look at the numbers. The French guy who listened to Fuentes long enough, doom documenting to kill himself, and then gave Fuentes hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars for it. Why? Wasn't just the doom documenting. It wasn't just the fact that he felt so he felt so good about Nick Fuentes. It was because Fuentes had a massive audience, and that idiot who killed himself in France thought, well, this must be something then. This must be going somewhere then, because this is how people evaluate. This is the metric they have. I had no idea that this was going. I knew it would be like laughable, but I had no idea it was going to be that absolute dumb. It was done before it started. And then what would make this better? What would make it better? Oh, well, somebody who was by force of their personality would just sit there and then elucidate innumerable crimes by black people, I guess. Is that what would make it better? Unbelievable. All right. Well, I'll see what you all have to say. We'll see if there are any financial gifts. Entropy is up and running. And so are Odyssey and D Live are up and running. And Cash App is up and running. And I just was told apparently that the guy who created Cash App was white guy stabbed to death in San Francisco. I've got to look that up. Stabbed to death in San Francisco. If that's right, Biospirit of the West reached out to me with that. The world can't continue like this. The world cannot continue like this. It's plummeting like skydivers without a parachute. It is racing for that impact that finishes everything. If you haven't liked the stream, the roll-in stream tonight, please do. It probably won't matter at all, but please do. What? Wow. Wow is all I have to say. Will you all please get out diamonds, gems, crowns, raucous emojis, salutes, waves, fireworks, 007s, 07s, and 007s. We're going to, this for no white guilt clips. Raucous emojis, 007s. Thank you, Amma. I mean, this is absolutely, truly, this is a guy who's 100% getting a statue. This is a guy who's constantly making clips out of my videos. And, you know, Based White, by the way, made some clips too on his YouTube channel of my work. You should find Base channel and share those clips. Stop just watching absolute retarded garbage like this. And let's make a difference in the world while there's time. Let's promote the work that we're doing here. Let's make sure it reaches people, that it is something that works. It's something that makes sense. It's something that's not just self-serving. There's not some central leader that is getting all this aggrandizement, intellectual, financial, etc. We are a team that is making a difference in the world. No white guilt clips, ladies and gentlemen, putting everybody to shame, again, not just with his financial contributions, but with all of his efforts to spread love, hope, and redemption by way of white well-being, the Go Free method, humiliating a guy running, what was he running for, governor, to spitting on himself in the middle of the conversation. Nobody's doing it better than No White Guilt Clips, and he has financially gifted $400 US. Man, God bless you, brother. Thank you so much for that. Thank you so very much. Yeah, fire, flame, raucous emojis, gems. Throw the gems at this man's feet, please. Put the crowns on his head. Find the crowns and put the crowns on his head. $400 US. Thank you, Franklin, Artificer, Cool Papa J Magic, Kinfolk, Jimmy, everybody who's celebrating, E. Essington, James, everybody who's celebrating No White Guilt Clips. This guy is like otherworldly dedicated. He's just constantly at it. God bless him. God bless him for his efforts. He can obviously see exactly what I'm talking about. Man, what an absolute champion. Chad, Martin, and Fournel saying awesome and many blessings upon him. Great to see you, Fournel. Chad. Yeah, unbelievable, isn't it? Tomb of Arminius celebrating NWG clips. What a great guy. What an absolutely great guy. Over here on Entropy, we have a $5 financial gift from Griffin. Thank you so much, Griffin. Great to see you in the live chat. Says, sending some white well-being dollars your way. Keep fighting the good fight, 07. Thank you so much for that. $5 from Griffin. Let me look over here and see if we got anything on D Live. Red Dog saying, I guess anti-whites don't have any concept of per capita. Well, I'm sure they do, but they know that you can torture data any way you want. This is why you just don't use data. And especially look what you're up against. Let's say that you're like some brilliant statistician and you traffic in studies and data, and this is all you do, and you can read them forward and backward, and you got scores and scores every year, newly memorized, freshly memorized. And then you have to discuss it against somebody like Bryson Gray. You're not going to win. You never will win against an anti-white. And that's what Bryson Gray is here, an anti-white. He made it very clear that he's anti-white by saying, what race has conquered more? What race has dominated the globe? As though we should feel ashamed for that. That's what he's implying. We should feel ashamed for that. And that's quintessentially anti-whiteism. Have white guilt because your people succeeded in that effort where every human group was competing. There was no human group that was saying, we're not interested. We're not interested. No, every human group endeavored to secure its existence in its footprint. There were no peaceful, and I mean, you can ask CNN, obviously. But people only acted peaceful when defeat was inevitable. People only complained that they were peaceful when they knew they couldn't succeed. It's the old trope, it's the old reality that if your adversary or potential adversary, and that is the law of the jungle, is not under your boot, he's at your throat. Because that's how the animal kingdom works, folks. And whether you believe we have souls or not, we're in animal bodies. So he's saying, feel guilty. And why would he want us to feel guilty? To lower our guard so that we can be victimized. That's what anti-whiteism is quintessentially all about. And for him, feeling guilty, feeling white guilt works out a lot of ways. He's made himself a lot of money from white people who feel guilty. He's, I guess, potentially we hear, gotten himself sex with white women because white people are feeling guilty. He's on Cozy. Is that accurate? I'm sure because white people feel guilty. And you might say, are you saying that Fuentes has white guilt, or are you saying that businesses have to deal with the white population? I rest my case. Wing It over there is naming a tribe in Africa, said that tribe used reason and compassion to secure territory. I mean, it's just preposterous. Do you see? So you had this debate about the data, and really it was a debate about the data was the tool. Really, it was a debate about, are black people worse or not so bad? Or are black people bad or are they worse? Who the cares? I care about whether or not white people are getting hurt. And first of all, you're condemning that whole group for the behaviors of individuals. If victimizing white people can't happen, then it's resolved, right? Now, see, I'm talking about all white people, not just me. If I were a radical individualist viewing the world, I would say, well, this is a threat, just like we saw with Scott Adams. A radical individualist given to anti-whiteism because of how it benefits him individualistically. And we got a new follower over there on G Live. Hello and welcome to see you. Good to see you. Welcome. All right. We also had that little piece of news. I haven't had an opportunity to take a look at it. Maybe I'll play the audio. I don't know. Can I do it now? The guy with the truck. I mean, I assume I've pissed off enough people at this point, and so I might as well just keep pissing people off with the truth. Did anybody, the truck I'm talking about? The guy's some kind of physical laborer. Really? Come on. And then they waxed indelicately about people who weren't present on this stream, this great debate. What a train wreck. Where is it? Well, I thought I knew where it was. Yeah, we got to talk about the Tucker Carlson thing. Maybe we'll come back during the week, or maybe on Sunday, and we'll review the Adam Carolla Tucker Carlson video, because that's interesting. The news of it's interesting. I haven't seen it yet. I probably will stay away from it so we can have a fresh response from me as it comes together. What? I don't know what happened. Where's the stuff on the truck? What is Tokolo she saying here? Biospiritual Tastes says, only the go-free method works. Great name. And you're absolutely right. It's the only thing that does work. Into conversation. Time Traveler says he was in a stressful situation and he relapsed into white negativity. It was a whole year before I could trust myself not to do that. Oh, yeah. Look at this retarded. This is midwit here. Jimmy says, hopefully Hypocrite learned his lesson after this debate. I didn't catch but a little bit of it here. I don't think so. I think that he's a good guy, and he's looking at people like Jared Taylor, who went to Yale, and the inertia of others who use data. And it's also like, well, and he's looking at it as a radical individualist. So he's worried about him and his wife and children and maybe the family of origin, her family of origin, but that's it. He's not looking at all of, and I can tell that that's the way he's looking at it as a radical individualist by the tools he implements to secure the safety of those individuals. And everyone is wrong but us. I mean, it's just, there's no brag there. That's just a fact. How many times do you have to lose citing data yourself? How many times do you have to watch others lose citing data? So what I think is Hypocrite will continue to view sharing data as the legitimate route to secure individual well-being, welfare for himself and his family. And the concern over it being white people being attacked is another radical individualistic concern. Again, you can see that it's individualistic by the perspective that is being taken to putting an end to that victimization. You all are so welcome. And thank you all who have disembroiled that on your own and have come to the only place where people can think clearly. Apparently, the only place on planet Earth where people can think clearly. So regrettably, I think he'll continue. I mean, he had 2 hours straight of me talking about and sharing with him these concepts. And so I like him. I think he's a good guy. And I also think that he'll continue going this direction. So I could have very easily taken this Bryson Gray person and cornered him into revealing his anti-whiteism, which he ended up revealing, but only to us, only to those who had the eyes to see it. Everybody else watching were unable to see that he's at core anti-white. It's amazing to me how people can know, and this is another failure of the human brain, how people can know that actors can play roles on TV, on movies, that they can play these roles. But then when there is a content creator out there, then they could not possibly be acting. Like this, it must be Bryson Gray is mostly for us, but not at all. And why are you putting your thinking in his head? What are his motivators? What are his genuine motivators? What is he getting out of this? I mean, so what are some notes here I took? He said that Bryson Gray said that all self-reported studies are illegitimate. Okay, so all studies are illegitimate, according to him. I noted that Hypocrite talked about and that's ultimately what he was trying to do with data was to buttress the videos of all the what they are referring to as the black on white violence. He wanted to say, we're seeing it in the videos, but somehow seeing it with your own two eyes is not enough for some people. They also have to say, well, there's data too. But there's this hyperfixation, as we've been talking about, and does nothing for us as a people. And you might be asking the question, well, Jason keeps talking about us as a people. Yes, because your individual well-being is only attainable in the long run by way of our group's well-being, by way of our people's well-being. We have had a period in history because of our great successes on planet Earth where white people became selfish and backstabbed each other, and they could enrich themselves off of other white people at their expense, use non-white people against white people to enrich themselves, and white people against non-white people to enrich themselves. So there has been a period in history where white people could fleece each other and stab each other in the back and have individual well-being. But that is rapidly the end of that is rapidly approaching, and white people can see that everywhere we look. So in the very near future, you're not going to be able to have individual well-being as removed from the well-being of our people. That is why, ergo the Go Free method. You need our people to have well-being. And you do that by using the concepts that we teach in the method that are loaded with unspoken premises you don't even need to know, that put you in our story where anti-whites have to come to us to propagandize us. And coming to us means they have to use our concepts that are loaded with premises that undermine their efforts and strengthen us as a people. And by strengthening us as a people and making us into a people, making us individually safe, secure, able to, with our endeavors, to get the rewards that we have worked for, that we've paid our dues for, that we are genetically equipped for, whatever it may be. Just if you take nothing away from this stream today, take away the point that I made about radical individuals looking out into the world, and they're looking at these videos, and this is the same error that Devin Stack made in that video that we talked about, where he's like, oh, if we just get more of these videos out there, more of these videos of blacks attacking white people, it's going to change everything. Wrong. It hasn't changed everything for generations before you. Pull your head out of your ass. The consequence of those videos is that radical individualistic white people say, if I can remove that, then I will be safe. You're not going to be able to remove the black race. And that would be totally immoral and wrong to do. You're not going to be able to remove, whatever that means. You're not going to be able to remove Jewish people. That would be immoral and wrong to do. And more importantly, it's never going to happen. So go ahead, take that lollipop away from yourself. There is no route to your personal well-being by hating on other groups of people, by pointing out how bad other groups of people are. So if there's nothing else you take away, it's that the clearest sign that somebody is a radical individualist is that they're white negative. They're looking out at the world, and you will also note their ancillary conversations that they have, like where to move. Well, what about all the white people that can't move? Well, who gives a about them? Well, what about the country we created, our ancestors? Well, who gives a about them? I just want to know where to take my selfish, individualistic ass and plot it somewhere where I and my immediate others are safe. Well, that's what I have to say. Now, that is not a condemnation of moving away from a violent area to be safe, to carry on the work that we do. You have to be a little bit more intelligent, I guess, maybe than a midwit, or you just have to know how to obey orders and know how to identify somebody that is has a halo and is feather winged. I mean, that's essentially what you have to be able to do. So you can move away from a violent area to protect your family. In the meantime, you are redeploying so that you can continue inoculating your children and yourself, continue treating yourself for the meme pathogens, the anti-white ideas that we are infected with. You can treat yourself for those things, and we can spread that into the world. And the faster it spreads, the sooner we get to a day when you don't have to flee from where you live. When not only you are safe, but so are white people you will never meet. So is your duty done to white people who did their duty, and so that you are here today. So is your duty to the white people that are yet to be. That's a better place to be, if you ask me. Sick of this individualism. Every individualist. Fuck everyone. I told Jared, I said, you're not going to have, you like the norms and the customs of the old South? You like that? Well, it's going to go. Because just because you can move away with it, move to a new area and take it with you in a very erudite way, doesn't mean it continues for everyone else. Where's this guy with this damn... Well, apparently, I guess I'll just have to pull it up at another time. The thing that I note about that is... Should I say it now or should I save it? Maybe I'll save it. Because there's a really important message there, too. About the deal with the guy with the work truck, what he wrote on the side of the work truck, and then what he ended up saying in an interview. All right, let me make sure we didn't miss anybody. All right, we're blank there, and let's see what we are over here. Zeb says the hyper-individualism from the 1960s brought about the sexual revolution, feminism, and the libertarianism. Yeah, it's just getting worse. We are taught, white people are taught radical individualism. And the problem is that there appears to be a genetic proclivity for radical individualism in white people. That is a problem. But if Hypocrite, if any of you know him, any of you talk to him, and he would like to talk about this debate and what happened, I would be happy to speak with him. But I think he's a good guy. I think he's wrong. But I want the best for he and his family. Jimmy says, if Hypocrite wasn't an individualist, he would better protect his family. Precisely. 100%. You know, an individualist only thinks of the immediate, and that is very feminine. It's a very feminine thing, especially for a man to do, is to think only of the immediate. Those children and the children's children, I guess you should at least care about them. They're going to live far beyond your ability to move everybody away. They're going to live far beyond your ability to get online and to find the whitest area and where the real estate values are good and income tax and then move. They're going to live far beyond that. They're going to live in a world that, if we don't reclaim our destiny, increasingly condemns them. And worse yet, the words, the curse of anti-whiteism will be made true by your individualist efforts. And that is this. Anti-whites will often say, you can resist this today, but your children will embrace anti-whiteism and they'll marry non-white people and have non-white babies. That will happen to these individualists. That absolutely will happen. It is a curse that comes true by the way of the behavior of radical individualists. Because your position, what made you, what composed your ideas, is not secured in a world where those ideas have been defeated by anti-white ideology. And so you then are little more than a blip, an anomaly of a dying people defeated by anti-white ideology. That's all you are. So you're if not your daughter, your granddaughter will be taking a non-white mate, having non-white children. If not your son, your grandson will be taking a non-white mate, having a non-white children. And that'll be the biological white erasure of Western kind. A truly evil thing. If you want to prevent that from happening, then you're going to have to think broader than your own ass and your immediate family. I really hope this sticks. Another big thank you to No White Guilt Clips. A true hero. I hope that we can big raucous emojis, folks. Big raucous emojis as well. $50. 007s for the great FourCorners, who financially gifted, saying white well-being. God bless you, brother. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Raucous emojis. Throw gems at FourCorners. You know, FourCorners is everything that we're saying about clips can be said about FourCorners. FourCorners, from the very beginning, Prometheus Rising comes out, and he's making immediately a concept album out of the book. He's made countless, it seems now, bumpers, songs, ads, websites. The man is absolutely tireless. Financially gifting is the least of all of this Herculean champion's contribution. So God bless the great FourCorners. He sees what's going on in the world. We need more people like these champions that keep showing up, while so many are just like watching and really not doing it. But you know, we here, I was at a working dinner with an old timer from the white sympathetic sphere, and we were talking about this, and I said, look, every other community, they tolerate people doing nothing. We mock people who do nothing. And so God bless the great FourCorners. We should all be aspiring to be like these champions. We also have Nick, not Fuentes, but we do have Nick here, financially gifting $10. Thank you so much. And with those 10 white well-being dollars, he's got a hand and fire. So thank you. I appreciate that so much, brother. And we have another great champion. We're really celebrating him over the top. And that was First Last. He's coming in now with $5 over there on Cash App. God bless you, brother. I really appreciate that. Another who is just endlessly doing things in service to white well-being. Wow, I didn't expect to see these come through. For Null, Nick, and First Last, in addition to the great No White Guilt Clips. All right. So we save the world. They complain. Time Traveler says he's trying to show that his world view is rational, a very abstractionist mindset. Talking about Hypocrite. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the abstractions, rather than, putting more weight on the abstractions created by the white race, Western kind, rather than the organism, the creature that made them, is a sin beyond all sins, because it sacrifices the flesh on the altar of our ideas. And this is another failing of Westman. You take an idea, as Time Traveler is pointing out here brilliantly, and then you say, well, I'm just going to go get a bunch of data and I'm going to show how rational and logical this is, and then therefore I win. With whom? Who is your audience? There is no God, judge God, who's going to come down and say, you are right, and therefore I crown you, and everybody else can just go kick sand. Lavish is here. Great to see you, sister. And Linda's here. Hello, sister. Lavish says, you will be disappointed by Tucker Carlson. Well, maybe I will review. Well, maybe Sunday. But maybe before then. I appreciate everybody coming out and everybody participating. A big, deep debt of gratitude to the few who continue to financially gift and continue to sticker and continue to create stickers and continue to leaflet and continue to go into other live chats. And we had a couple people. I know Amma was one. Thank you so much for that, sister. Go into the other chat and try to, hey, is there anybody worth shit here? Or are you all a bunch of midget wits with your little midget sticks playing your video games? Anybody here worth anything? A big debt of gratitude. Thank you to you all, because I can speak, as you can see, all of the wisdom of all of my years and studying all of the years of the old timers who went before me, humbling myself before them. So many of the content creators and organization leaders out there, they don't have an ounce of humility. They will lie and say they do. But for God's sakes, folks, look at the evidence. So I humbled myself before, got their information, and then also using reason and logic, then applying the ideas that we either glean from the ideas in the world, gleaning the gold from the gravel, or submitting all of that to the scientific method, and then distilling what's left so that we have what works. That's what we do. That's what we will continue to do, even when we review a car accident that was this horrific as this debate. They actually called it a debate, and there were midget-witted audience members saying, well, it was a good debate. I think you had some good points there. I think you might have had a good point or two, when you had the totally obese grandmother with the grandmother voice sitting between these two, moderating these two, with a severe alcohol and drug problem. It was a bearded grandmother with a severe alcohol and drug problem, which would, of course, if circuses were still a thing, be central attraction as they roll into town. Forget the elephants. You want the human elephant. We're going to celebrate one more time. Raucous emojis. Big time raucous emojis and 07s, 007s for Artificer. Artificer, who has come in here, been celebrating other people as well, who comes in here, says, for our people and you, my good brother, cheers. 50 white well-being dollars. 50 white well-being dollars coming here, watching me take time out of my day to watch the 800 some odd, nearly 900 audience celebrate this auto wreck of what I've been watching now for 3 decades, spelling it out for the few, the brave, the bold, the champions, the white well-being activists. Thank you, brother. $50 US. God bless you for that. I really appreciate it. These are testimonials to the success of the work we're doing. Please be as excited. You just heard me share over the course of these 2 hours and make clear as can be what's going on in the minds of these people. We found out that our friend, the good guy, Hypocrite, that had me on his show one time was good to me, that he's viewing this, in my opinion, too individualistically. He's using tools that will never avail him for his individualistic well-being because it's not going to attain our group's well-being. We look at this guy called Bryson Gray, who apparently people know who he is, never heard of him. And we point out that he's actually anti-white, and he's just riding this tide of white-guilted white people who are opening their legs and their pocketbooks to him, and he doesn't want that to end. So he wants that focus on black on white violence to go away or to be diminished. This is what's really going on. Let's not entertain the spurious. All right, folks, let's get to the real. Let's take it back, and let's listen to some 4 Null as we roll out.